Welcome back to Real Clear Politics on Sirius XM. I'm Andrew Walworth, and we've been talking a lot this week about redistricting. And my next guest is at the forefront of an effort to stop what's called mid-cycle redistricting. He is the sponsor of a bill in Congress designed to do just that. He's also a Republican. Representative Kevin Kiley represents California's 3rd District. Congressman, welcome to the program.
Thanks very much. Great to be with you.
So let's start with your governor, Gavin Newsom. He's all in on creating at least 5 safe Democratic seats in California. This is to offset what the GOP is doing in Texas. He promised in a post on X that in doing so, he would, quote, end the Trump presidency. I want to get to your bill in a minute, but what's happening in your state? And do you think the governor is going to be successful in this effort?
I don't think the governor is going to be successful, but what's happening is truly alarming because Gavin Newsom is, truly threatening democracy and representative government in our state. He is seeking to overturn the will of voters who put in place an independent Citizens Redistricting Commission. His explicit goal, as you said, is to pick up 5 or 6 seats. He said this is going to, quote, make California a whole lot bluer. And he's going to do it by sidelining the commission and reversing the will of voters. It is a truly just outrageous scheme, an attack on the voters of our state and democracy in our state. And they're going to try in every way they can, by the way, if this ballot initiative comes to a vote, to confuse the issue. We already see that they've proposed fraudulent ballot language to try to confuse voters. But I think at the end of the day, we can stop this.
Yeah, so he's got to get it through the legislative votes. Then it goes to a referendum that would go this fall. So it's a pretty fast turnaround in all this. And I saw this poll, I'm sure you saw it as well, Politico. 64% of California voters want to keep the independent commission that currently draws the congressional districts. Only 36% want the legislature to do it. So that's kind of a roadblock, I guess, or at least a speed bump, I guess, that he'd have to get over, right? I mean, it doesn't sound like it's popular, at least without a lot of, until the politicking begins, right?
That's right. And it's unsurprising because the voters established this commission. And so having them come in a snap, rushed special election, say, oh, we want you to reverse the decision that you made, of course, voters aren't going to be for that. So if this question is presented fairly to voters, then you'll get the same results as you saw in that poll. They'll overwhelmingly reject the governor's plan to return us to partisan gerrymandering. But again, what they're going to do is they're going to try to make yes look like no and no look like yes. We've seen this time and time again in California. They're going to spend ungodly amounts of money, and they're going to try to confuse the issue as much as possible and make it partisan as much as possible. So we need to be prepared to fight this on every front. Personally, I would like to see us just sort of, as a country, say this is not a road we're going to continue to go down, because while California and Newsom have sort of done this in a uniquely pernicious, harmful, undemocratic, and damaging way, there are other states that are talking about doing their own mid-decade redistricting now, and it could cascade across the country and cause it in a really chaotic manner.
Yeah. So let's talk about your bill for a minute then. It would stop what they call mid-cycle redistricting. Redistricting is, I guess, supposed to be done or usually done, conventionally done after the end of the census every 10 years. And, there'll be a challenge. And there are reasons why people sort of do mid-cycle redistricting, but it hasn't been the norm. And your bill would do what? It would outlaw that?
Yeah, just say that we do redistricting once every 10 years. That's actually what the Constitution says, is that you're required to do it at the beginning of the decade after the census to reflect population changes. And historically, that's the only time that it's been done. It's a pretty historically anomalous thing to just say, oh, well, we feel like doing it again, so let's do it in the middle of the decade, even though we don't even have new population numbers. So it's very disruptive because people lose their districts or have their districts changed a lot. And it has a purely partisan motivation, as Gavin Newsom has admitted. He said his entire purpose is to pick up 5 or 6 Democrat seats, and he's going to change everyone's district in the process.
So is this bad? I understand it's bad in California, and we should point out that if he does this, it's bad for you personally. I mean, right. But do you oppose it in Texas as well? Because in Texas, the Republicans are going to pick up 5 seats if they go through with it.
Yeah, I oppose it in Texas as well. I oppose it everywhere it's being done. The bill will apply to all 50 states. I would say that what's happening in California is way worse than what we're seeing anywhere else. because number one, we have an independent commission that the governor is seeking to sideline and get out of the picture, and he's trying to throw out their map that they drew after extensive feedback from all across the state. Number two, he's disregarding, indeed overturning, the clearly expressed will of our voters. And number three, California actually already has pretty unbalanced representation in Congress. Republicans have 9 seats out of 52. That's like 17% of the seats, even though we get over 40% of the vote in statewide elections. So even if Texas goes through with what they're planning, when all is said and done there, the Democrats will still have better representation in Texas than California Republicans do right now. And so the governor is seeking to eliminate 5 or 6 more Republican seats. So we'd be left with 3 seats out of 52. And I think that, independent voters, Republican voters, Democrat, doesn't matter. Probably look at that and say something is a little out of sorts when we have 52 seats and one party has 49 of them.
Right. So Sean Trendy, who's our senior elections analyst, he's done the math on this, and he claims that the GOP, if this goes to 11, if this really goes and all the states get involved that can be involved, Indiana, Missouri, everyone, that the Republicans could pick up as many as 19 seats, I guess, because New Hampshire said they weren't going to do it, right? Kiley said no. So what do you say to people who say, look, and I should add that the Democrats, you pointed out, California is already pretty unbalanced. Certainly Massachusetts. I'm in Maryland. Maryland, we have one. Andy Harris is our one representative. So the Democrats can't do it as effectively, or they've already done it effectively, maybe a better way to put it. So if you're viewing this solely through a sort of partisan lens, what do you say to people who say, look, Kevin, love you, man, but this is bad for your political career. We understand maybe it's bad for democracy, but by sacrificing your seat, we are cementing a Republican majority for the foreseeable future. And you just have to lump it, because otherwise we're likely to lose the House this next time around. If we really want to advance the president's agenda, we need all 3 houses. And sorry, man, but this is politics ain't beanball, and tough luck for you. What do you say?
Sure. Now, so I'm not super concerned, honestly, about my own seat. I won by 46,000 votes in the last election. Gavin Newsom specifically targeted me. He sent his own staff member to run against me. The DCCC put me on their target list, and I won by 46,000 votes because I've gotten support from Democrats, Republicans, and independent voters. And there's only so much they can do in the Sacramento region. So that's not my foremost concern. I am concerned about California as a whole, and the state of democracy in our state, certainly the Republican Party in our state. Being from California, I think people will understand that that's my first and foremost my concern. But I'd also say, kind of more directly to your question, I don't know that math necessarily works out in a guaranteed way. There's a lot of uncertainty built into that. There's potentially, seats that are put at risk when you gerrymander in one direction from the party that's actually doing the gerrymandering. So when all is said and done, it's not clear there will be a huge gain from one party or the other. But really, that's not how we want to win the House. We just won control of the House in 2024. We just won the House last year. And we can win the House again using the exact same map that was in place last year. We've proven that we can do it. What I think actually we're risking when all of this attention now is on redistricting and these games and gerrymandering is it's taking attention away from the issues that we can actually win the 2026 election on, like the fact that we have a border that is more secure than it's ever been, or the fact that we just delivered historic tax relief to the American people, or all of these major foreign policy victories. So if we focus on the issues, then we'll win. And that's why we should want fair elections. If elections are fair, and I think that there's a lot of things we need to do to assure fairness, voter ID is one of them, not counting non-citizens in the census is one of them. But if elections are fair, then we'll win because our policies are much better for the country. And the Democrats, by the way, have increasingly offered insane policies that they're embracing in places like New York City.
I was talking to Andy Harris about this, and he told me that one of the things, he's the sole representative from the state of Maryland in either house, and he said one of the things that state would lose if they don't have him in the delegation is someone who can talk to the speaker, someone who can talk to the White House. And I'm wondering about that. I mean, whatever your politics are, if you're a Californian, I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican, is it an advantage to have someone someone from your state who is a member of the opposite party and can talk across the aisle. I mean, do we lose something if we go to these sort of gerrymandered districts where, there are states like Massachusetts, for example, that there's no Republicans at all. I mean, I think all of New England is like that now. Do they lose something?
I think so. I think that's a great point. I think it's unhealthy when one party has its hands on every single lever of power. But yeah, there are practical considerations like that too. Like, for example, I've really gone to bat to try to get an aid package for the LA fire victims. In fact, our entire Republican delegation has, and having that bipartisan support, I think, is going to be crucial towards getting a package ultimately passed into the victims who need it. But then there's also sort of the opposite side of that coin, is that it provides some sort of balance in one-party states, right? So I've actually made a big part of what I'm trying to accomplish in Congress, trying to counteract some of the insanity we have coming out of California. As one clear example of that, Gavin Newsom has tried to ban gas-powered cars in California, and I was able to introduce a resolution in Congress that has now been passed and signed into law by the president that reverses that, so that Californians can continue to drive the car of their choice. And we've had similar victories on cutting off funding for this crazy high-speed rail, boondoggle, and other areas in California. So I think that having that balance is important, both to enable bipartisan cooperation where it's needed, as well as to have a check on things running too far in one direction.
Yeah. Have you seen what Gavin Newsom is proposing in terms of a map? Has anyone seen that yet? And I'm wondering about how crazy the districts would have to be drawn at this point. Because as you pointed out, California, we don't call it gerrymandered, I guess, because it was done by the commission. But basically, Republicans are already underrepresented if you look at the presidential vote, just as sort of a marker. But have you seen the districts, or do you have an idea of what they would look like?
I have not, because no one has, other than the people who are creating the map. That's the thing, is that this is reverting to the era of these maps being drawn in closed rooms without any public input, any public access. The commission has to do all manner of public input, thousands and thousands of public comments and meetings and what have you. Whereas here, they just have some consultant who's drawing the map, and his instructions are make it as gerrymandered as possible without, giving us a huge litigation risk. That's basically the process. So supposedly they're going to unveil the map tomorrow. I mean, we have a pretty good idea of what they're going to do based upon some of the public comments that have been made. But I mean, that's the whole. And by the way, the legislature is going to vote on this next week. So the map's going to be out there for a few days. And then they're going to have a special election on November 4th, which is not allowed in any way under our election laws. So they're going to change all our election laws in order to speed up the process for the special election. It's just crazy. Let's
go back to your bill for a second. We just got about a minute left here, but I'm wondering, what do you think the chances are of passage? Because I can't see the White House getting behind it. I think I don't know what the speaker is going to do on it, but what do you think your chances are?
Well, I think it has majority support in the House, so I think the chances are good, and we have many tools available to get the bill to a vote. And I think that if the House makes its will abundantly clear, then that will change the dynamics. And I think that as more states start to consider going down this road, you're going to have more and more people who are protesting and saying, all right, well, regardless of what the ultimate partisan math might be here, if this party or that party nets a couple seats, like, this is not worth it. This is not something that's good for any of us. And that's why, the Republicans in Texas, they don't like this whole thing, even though the Republican Party might stand to benefit there. And so I think that it might be the one thing that Democrats and Republicans in Congress agree on right now, is this really is not a good thing for our country, for the institution, for representative government.
All right. Well, Kevin, Kiley, we're going to have to leave it there. You've been listening to Real Clear Politics on Sirius XM. I'm Andrew Walworth. That's our program. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.